It's 20 days into wipe and I've already hit max crafting. As you can see right here, I got it behind me. No, I didn't cheese it. No, I didn't spend a bazillion rubles. And this video is going to show you how you can do it without too much work just between your raids and why it's so important to do this along with hideout management. So let's not waste any more time and get you guys up to speed. Okay, so first let's talk about what max crafting and hideout management are. Max crafting is the elite skill. Like all skills, when you reach level 51, you get an elite bonus for that. In crafting, that bonus is you can craft 2 things at once in each module. So your workbench, you know, when you click start and it craft and you can't see anything else, when you have max crafting, you can click 2 things and you can craft 2 things at once. This is super helpful for some of the longer crafts like ammo. It also means that you can make an absolute ton of money in your hideout if you so desire. This has a couple of very specific bonuses, and I'm gonna hop in the hideout here to show you what those are. I can't show you specifically, but the first one's gonna be on your generator. It adds 2 additional slots. So I have a level 3 generator, I have 6 slots. When you get max hideout management, you get 2 additional ones. This also applies to the water filters. So on your production here, you get 2 extra little boxes and you can fill those full of water filters. So when a water filter burns up, it doesn't just stop. It kicks over to the next water filter. So you don't get those times where you run out of a water filter and then, you know, the next day you show up and you don't have a super water, you got to throw another filter in there. You don't have to worry about that. This also applies to the air filters on the air filtering unit, which I don't have built yet. You get 2 additional slots there. And on your Bitcoin farm, you get 2 additional slots there, which means instead of maxing at 3, you max at 5. Now they also have, these skills also have their other bonuses that go along with them, besides the max bonuses obviously. Let me get these brought up here. So max crafting, my crafting time is reduced by 37.5%. So that means if I have a craft that takes an hour as its base, it's only going to take about 38 minutes to actually craft that with my skills. Now this kicks in with, like, when you have really long crafts, like some of the stuff for the storyline or some of the other, you know, armors or some of the ammos, it really does add up and makes these crafts faster. It also reduces the cyclic production time except for the Bitcoin farm. So this is things like your collecting super waters. It makes those faster. So you're basically what happens is it just speeds up how fast you get super waters. Now, hideout management, the 2 bonuses are is it increases all percentage bonuses from your hideout zones, as well as reduces fuel, air, water filter consumption rates by 11.5%. So you get more out of your water filters and your air filters and your fuel. You get when you put a fuel container in at max hideout management and you have solar power, it's like 60 hours or 80 hours or something silly on a fuel can. But on top of that, your bonuses that you get from your hideout in general, for example, like we'll go look at the library here, it increases these above their base. You know, practical, this is only supposed to be, I think 30%, but it's 37%. You know, you look at your intel center where your bonuses on your scav cooldown timers and your insurance returns. When you get to max hideout management, your scav cooldown timer, if you have 6 karma, is like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So you can just run scavs. Like if you have a good scav raid, by the time you get your inventory sorted out and you get everything ready to go, your next scav is already up. So it's pretty powerful for that too. But that's what the skills do. Let's talk about how you level them up. And we're going to start off with crafting because I know that's the big one. That's what you guys are all here for. To level up a crafting skill, you have to complete a craft. Now there's a couple of finer points with this. The first thing you get is you get 1.5 skill points for every 8 hours of crafting. And that sounds like it's crazy, but if you have all 4 of your modules running at the same time, you're basically getting 1.5 skill points every 2 hours or every hour and 10 minutes. That kind of depends on where you're crafting and what you're doing. And you know, how many modules you have. Do you have things like the moonshine the boost generator that makes moonshine, or you know, do you have level 2 water collector? All that kind of stuff matters. So that's the first thing. For every 8 hours of crafting, you're going to get 1.5 skill points. Now on top of that, the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to get 1.5 skill points for every craft you finish. So when I click get this item right here and I collect these fun little Zaveda flash rounds for the shotgun, I would get 1.5 skill points if I didn't have max crafting. I have max crafting, so I'm not going to get any skill points. Well, there's an interesting thing. BSG forgot to change this after the soft core wipe. You know, what we had right before 1.0. It's supposed to only be 1.5, but right now it is 6 base skill points. So each time I was cycling a craft, because I had library, I was getting almost 8 skill points per craft. So when I would come out of a raid and I would collect my craft on my lavatory, my workbench, my Medstation, my nutrition unit, intelligence center, I was getting like 40 to 50 points each raid. It was like 42 to 50 depending on depending on how the crafts fell. Because sometimes you'd get a sixth one with the intel, or because these water crafts and the water collector count as well. So that's a level. Every raid I would run, I would get a half a level. The only caveat here for this is you can't run the same craft over and over again. So for example, I'm crafting M855A1 right now, right? I can't craft that again. I would have to select something different. So this mechanic means that the faster the craft is, the more skill points you get. Yes, you're not, that long craft thingy is not there, but if you cycle, for example, on the lavatory unit, right? If I come in here and I craft a gas mask that takes 1 minute and 15 seconds, and then I switch to bandages, which takes 10 minutes and 25 seconds, in 12 minutes, I'm going to generate almost 16 points of skill points. And then, you do one, let's say you do one gas mask, then you do one bandage craft, and then you go back and do a gas mask. So now you're talking 14 minutes and you're doing 24 skill points. And that's just from this one module. So if you want to level up your crafting, that's the trick. You want to alternate fast crafts. But if you do the fastest crafts, you're going to burn a shitload of money. I did this in, like I said, 20 days of playing with making money most of the time. Almost every craft I did made money and made a lot. Now, you might not think that. You might be looking at my stash here and going, how is he going to say he made a bunch of money when he's only got 6 million rubles, 7 million rubles, and 18,000 euros, or 5,000 euros and 18,000 USD? Well, part of the thing is I'm working on my 40 Bitcoins for the flea market. So these are what? These are 700 some thousand a piece, 758. It's like 30 something mil in here, a little over 30 mil. I have just sitting in Bitcoins waiting to do the storyline. So it does make you a ton of money. But which crafts are that? I know that's the biggest question, and this can change. So keep that in mind. This is, as of right now, the crafts that I was doing to make steady money. The first one is fleece, just straight simple. It costs about, what does it cost? It costs 4,500 rubles to do this craft. And it makes, when you sell it, I was selling these for anywhere from 15 to 20,000. So you make money right there. The same thing can apply to even air mid. It's a little more tough because this will be down around 15,000, but I've also been up around 25,000, as you can see right here. And it costs 40,000 basically to do this craft. You buy a pack of, 30,000 to do this craft. So even if you're only selling for like 16,000, you're still breaking even, but you're leveling your crafting up. Ripstops, also good. Scav vests costs, they're like 12K, but you can get them even cheaper if you use a slicker bar for the barter with Jaeger. That's right, right here, you come here and you get a barter with Jaeger. These things are like 8,000, 7,000, so you can save a little bit more money. And then ripstop makes 2 of them, and the ripstops sell for 10. So you're more than doubling your money on ripstops. Corduras haven't been as good, but these will get better. They still make money, but it will get even better because this gets used up a lot in armor barters and stuff like that. So you'll start to see that get used up a lot more. So that's there. Those are the crafts I do. They're not super fast. Basically, I cycle one each raid. And if you didn't know, all you got to do is click this little shopping cart and purchase all, and it'll buy everything you need for the craft to start it. And just like that. And now I've got 2 things going because I have max crafting. Also, I wish I hadn't done that because it's kind of hard to show you some of these others. If you have extra money and you want to just burn through crafts, the GP7 gas mask isn't terrible. These run from as cheap as 30 all the way up to, I've seen them 60, 70, 80,000. But the air filters, they're not free either. These things, I've got a bunch listed here for 35. They might not sell. 20, 30, you can sell them back for it. But if you do this craft between every other craft, you add so many skill points to it. So if you have a little extra money to burn, you can do that. Now, if let's say you work from home, right? And you've got Tarkov up on a second screen, or maybe you're sitting there waiting on your buddies because you died and they're trying to get out of raid. If you cycle between the gas mask and the army bandage craft, it's so fast. You will level up so many skill points. And for me, I just sell the army bandages a stack at 1,819 rubles, just under therapist. They clean out pretty quick. You lose a little bit of money, not a lot, and it just cranks through those skill points. And that's the Lavatory. The Workbench has a lot more options to it. Now, you've watched my crafting videos about making money. I'm constantly crafting wires because it's just easy and you don't have to think about it. But we're getting into where gunpowders and stuff make money as well. And they're decently fast. The red gunpowder craft is okay, and it only takes 22 minutes, so it cycles pretty quickly. One of the other really good ones, and this might change, keep that in mind, this video might blow that apart, but this is a 3-minute craft for an AK. And all you got to do is buy yourself a Vepr Hunter for 31,000 rubles or less if you can get it. You might be able to get them cheaper on Fence, but you craft a Leatherman, which the Leatherman's just a tool. You know, it doesn't, if you see, oh my God, I clicked on the wrong button here. When you're looking at a craft, if you see a little wrench on here like this, that means that it's a tool that it needs it for the craft, but it doesn't burn it up. So you craft 3 minutes for an AKM, and then you can turn around and sell these things for like 40 something. Yeah, 43K. So you make a little bit of money, but the craft is only 3 minutes. So there's a good one to alternate. LCDs are pretty expensive. They were making money for a while. They're pretty quick, but I'm pretty sure they're losing money just on the electrical components alone because these are pretty pricey. So they're not there. In fact, I'm going to pull that off because I don't use it. Again, if you don't care about money all that much, another potential really fast craft is this red pliers from Yellow Pliers. These things cost like 25, 30K. They're really cheap right now. This is actually a really good deal because you can vendor and get that back. But in 9 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever your crafting time is going to be, it turns into round pliers, which you can vendor for pretty much what you paid for them. So those are kind of your two really fast cycle crafts. But for me, I was basically I would craft wires one raid. I might throw an ammo in there another raid. The green gunpowder and red gunpowders are great. Just make sure you're changing every one up. And we'll do a crafting guide here again this weekend, but if you're doing the crafts, I always try to give you 2 or 3 crafts that are most profitable. If you're doing those and just cycling those, you're gonna fly through these skill points. And the best part is the more you do it, the faster it gets, because as your skill point slowly trickles up, your crafting times go down. There's a lot of other crafts in here. You know, if you have stuff like circuit boards you want to do, these can be pretty good. I don't know where circuit boards are at right now. So we're 15K on a circuit board, and you're probably 25, 30, oh, you're 20K. So DVD drives can make you money, and that is a pretty quick craft. So that could be another one you could throw in there as a favorite. If you haven't seen, that's what I'm doing. You click the little heart and it keeps it at the top page. You also have a search here. If you're looking for something, you know, you can just type in circuit board and it'll show you all the crafts with the circuit board. Then you can heart it and then it stays at the top and you don't have to scroll so much. The Intel Center is one that is tough. You have to have level 2 Intel to really cycle anything, but it's going to lose you money. So right now, this craft costs about 100K, and you're only going to get 45K, maybe 40K, maybe even less out of it. So you're going to burn money, but it's cycling crafts. That's what I was doing. I was burning money on some of this stuff this last couple of days. This craft used to make a ton of money, so it's kind of just evening out now. But one that does always make money is the Labs card. You know, Intels are like 150K, 140K, 130K, and these go anywhere from like 65, 7 or 69. Looks like up to, I was selling about 75K. So you're making money on them. It's a fast, this is a fast craft, really fast craft. I don't know why it's, because I got to get item. You know, 25-minute craft right here. Again, I don't have to worry about cycling crafts because I have max crafting now. I can just craft away, but I can craft this and then I could come down and craft whatever else I wanted. And that's it. The Intel Center is pretty straightforward. You can craft some of this other stuff if you want, if you need it, but there's no money in it as of now. Maybe later in the wipe there will be. I say the wipe. We don't have wipes anymore. Later in 1.0 there will be. The Medstation. This one's super easy, and it's money, and it'll be this way for a while. So pile of meds are running about 15, 16K right now because it's late at night. They get down to about 12 to 13. So you can even make money selling cheeses because the cheeses are selling for like 5,000, right? Your AI2s. So I literally just cycle between pile of meds and AI2s, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Occasionally throw a Propital in there if I need it. I'm not crafting Aphex anymore. The serve crafts weren't really worthwhile. I'm just going to turn all this stuff off because I'm really not crafting any of this other stuff in here. Just cycle back and forth between these two meds. It's just that simple. It's straight up, and it just adds a ton of skill points because they're fast. You know, pile of meds is, what is it? It's 13 minutes, or no, that's that one. It's 30 minutes, and then the AI2s are 13 minutes at max crafting. So Medstation, pretty easy. That's what you cycle. Now, nutrition unit, this one's going to change. So I'm going to tell you right now what I was doing, but it's getting to where it's not going to work. Slickers, obviously, right? So it costs 33,000, give or take, for Slickers, and this chocolate will continue to get more expensive. Crackers won't because you buy them off traders, but that'll continue to tick up. But Slickers, you're selling these for, you know, 8,000, 9,000 rubles. Kind of depends on where they're at. So even at 8,000, you know, you're running about 40K for your slickers. So you're making a little bit of money on this. The other one is condensed milk. You can cycle these back and forth pretty quickly. The thing is condensed milk is getting to be about the same price as it costs to just vendor it. You used to be able to sell it for more. Now it's going to be vendor price, but as sugar goes up, it's going to get bad. This is a good craft to help you level up Jaeger though. That's what I do with it a lot. I just sell my condensed milks to Jaeger to help level up his money because he gives a little bit less than Therapist, but it's a better way than like going and buying a bunch of knives and trying to sell it to him or something like that. Another craft that I noticed today that it's hit or miss, but it's pretty good and it's 20 minutes, so it's pretty quick, is this salty dog beef sausage craft. Right now, so we're 63,000 is the cost because toilet paper is stupid expensive. It shouldn't be that expensive. It's just because it's late at night right now when I'm making this. But again, so we're talking 65,000 to make this. These were selling for 25 to 30,000, right? So yeah, we're 30,000. So you're anywhere from 75 to 90K on just selling the salty dog beef sausages. So this is another craft you could throw into your mix that's a little bit quicker that will make you money for slickers or the condensed milks. Now, vodka is a good craft, but it's got a caveat to it. One, you've got to watch moonshine like a hawk. It's 190K right now, which means your sell point is about 250,000 on vodka. 25,000 on vodka. But as you can see here, people are selling for 30, 40. And that's what you do. You craft 20 or 30 vodka. You come and look and you sell for a high price because people doing the thick case barter, they don't want to click through here and buy one or two of these at a time. If they've got that kind of money, they're not worried about it. They're going to come down here to this 37 and click purchase all because it's easier. It's been this, I mean, you can not believe me, that's fine, but I've been doing this for 5 years and I've always done that. This is one of the things that hasn't changed and it's great, is kind of using these kind of barters like these kind of crafts like vodka, because they have barters that use, because you need 50 of them for a thick case, right? So people just want to buy them. So you can get a little bit more money out of it doing that. So vodka is another one. Whiskey isn't yet, but it will be. Whiskey will get to be where it's a decent craft. It just isn't quite there yet. Now, the last but not least is the water collector. This is one that's just, this here, even if you craft, like, let's say a 60 out of 60, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the 40 because I don't want to waste it. But even if you craft a 60 out of 60, the craft counts. And it's just free. It doesn't cost anything to do this. So you do that, and I've been cycling with the emergency water ration, but you don't have to do that because these are kind of getting expensive. You're losing I was making money on them, but I'm losing money now, or I was until I got max. So it's up to you if you want to do that. These things are, you know, I've 21,000. So if you can get it under 40, great. But you can also do okay with the Aquamarines. You're looking at about 60,000 to buy your water bottle. You know, they're 12,000 a piece or whatever they are from Therapist, right? 12 or 13. And then you have your Aquapeps, which are kind of expensive right now, but you can see them down around 25, 30,000 to sell five super water or Aquamarines, which sell for, you know, 19 to 20,000. So this craft ends up being almost a break even, but it's another option for you. And just cycling these will level up your crafting super fast. And that's it, right? So let's say if you cycle all 6 of your modules, which you have all 6 of them, each raid, at a minimum, you're going to get 36 skill points, right? Because 6 times 6. If you start getting into the 7 and 8 skill points because you get library built and some of the other stuff, now you're starting to push that 40 and 50 skill points. And then if you do a Lavatory quick cycle of your gas mask, like I said, and then a quick cycle of the AKM between each raid, now you're pushing that into the 50 and 60 range between each raid. So you very easily, if you run 2 or 3 raids a day and that's all you run, you're looking at making 1 to 2 skill points a day. So at that rate, 1 to 2 skill points a day, averaging that over whatever, you know, you're only going to be, you know, another 30 days, give or take. Because I have to imagine most of you are about 10 skill points on crafting at least. Maybe some of you aren't, but you're talking sometime after Christmas of getting max crafting. And if you really grind into it on a day, you can push that up. I did today alone. The last day I did it, I went from 43 to 50 today. I did that in a day. And I wasn't sitting here crafting. I was doing it between raids. Now, one thing I want to talk about here real quick, though, somebody's going to say, oh, you just cheesed it, blah, 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 blah. I did not cheese it. And here is my proof. I have my gamma container, my unheard gamma container still. There was a way that you could cheese this, and it was really expensive. But this craft on here for your gamma containers, if you had the EOD version, these used to be like 30-second crafts. which is why flat screwdrivers have gotten cheap now. These things were like 60K. And blue tape was a lot more expensive, though it still is. These people would cycle these back and forth at 30 seconds. And so you're just click, click, click. You're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a lot of people got max crafting doing that over the last couple of weeks. I didn't do it. I wanted to prove to everybody that you could do this quickly without cheesing it. So if you missed out on that, don't worry. You're still not that far behind, even though you don't have something like this. There's a lot of opportunity to do it. Now, let's talk hideout management and how you level it. It's much easier. It's so much shorter. There's not a lot to it. You get 0.8 skill points for hideout crafting for every craft you finish. Regardless, there's no cycling crafts, there's no stacking craft, there's nothing like that. It's just each craft that finishes, you get 0.8 skill points. So once you get max crafting, that does help out quite a bit if you're crafting across all the board. If you're crafting 2 things at once everywhere, it'll help out a little bit with hideout management. But the 2 real big point boosts you get from hideout management are, 1, just building your modules. Each time you upgrade something, it doesn't matter if you're upgrading it to level 1 or if you're upgrading it to level 3. Once this completes and you install it, you get 12 skill points. So just across all of your modules, you're looking, I did the math before, I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's like 650 or 700 skill points you get if you build everything in your hideout. So that right there is 6 levels, give or take, plus the starter levels. Just from that alone, you should be plenty of levels. It's going to push you past level 10 because of the way the skill points work, way past it. The real way you level up hideout management is by burning fuel and filters. So what that means is by every bit of fuel, every unit of fuel you burn through, and every water filter bit of durability you use up, as well as the air filtering unit, you will level hideout management. So usually once I get going and I'm leveling hideout management, I just leave everything running all the time, including my air filters. Even though you can take the filters out now and stuff like that. It's just, for me, it's worth the money. The money's never a problem. So I just make sure my filters are running nonstop to get that hideout management leveled up. And the big reason for that is because it lowers your fuel consumption, it lowers your filter consumption, it makes all of your bonuses better. You end up getting more money out of your quests. Your insurance return time is faster. Scav cooldown time is faster. All of these bonuses you have across your hideout, reduces armor repair cost using repair kits, is 11. All of that gets boosted by hideout management. So even though it's a more passive skill, it is still super powerful. And it's super easy to level up. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take any active work like it does with crafting. Just make sure your filters and your fuel are always running, and it'll level up by itself. Just sitting here, it's behind my head here, so let me switch this here. Hideout management, just sitting here talking with you guys, I've already done 6 skill points, and I haven't even really been crafting. I've just been sitting here. So that's what I mean by passive. And yes, this one's going to go a lot slower because it's not boosted like crafting was, and they might pull crafting back. Like right now we're getting 6 skill points, right? BSG might see this and be like, oh my gosh, we didn't mean for everybody to get max crafting. We're going to put it back to 1.5. And yes, it does turn into a little bit more of a grud or a grind, but these things still work even if it's only 1.5 skill point per craft. So nothing changes if they fix that, but right now it's 6 skill points. So make sure you take advantage of it. Do this now because you're gonna be so grateful later. Even if you take a break from Tarkov, when you come back and there's an event and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any ammo, and you can craft it real quick, it's a huge deal. But that is how I got crafting leveled quickly, and so can you. Do me a favor, if you got something out of this video, hit like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton, tells YouTube you want to see more of my content. So it's a win-win for everybody. And if you're still here, I have to imagine you liked the video. If you have some crafts that you prefer to do instead, throw them down in the comments. I love seeing it. There's always something I'm overlooking or something one of you guys finds that you let me know in the comments, and I really appreciate that. But we'll wrap her up there. As always, I appreciate you guys being around here. I wish you the best of luck in your raids. Good luck escaping Tarkov in 1.0, and we'll see you out there.